Chapter 6 talks about the basics of planning. And what we mean by planning is how you manage your project. Okay? Because planning is basically we look at everything as a project and then how we plan it. And in this chapter, it talks about these objectives. We want to distinguish between state, effect, and response uncertainties. Why do we make a plan? Because there is uncertainty. Okay? Why you make a plan for what you will do tomorrow? Because, if you don't do a plan, then you don't know what's going to happen, and therefore you need to make a plan. What are you going to do in the summer? We don't know what we're going to do this summer, but we know that this is what we want to do, and then we want to make it on a plan so we know exactly what we will do, and we will distinguish between state, effect, and response. We will identify 3 types of planning. We will write good objectives, and we will discuss the role of objectives in planning, and we will discuss MBO. Anyone have heard of MBO before? MBO is a 4-step management by objective, and it explains how you foster individual commitments and motivation. In Chapter 6, we will also discuss the project planning within context of project lifecycle. Do you guys know what's a project lifecycle? Just like any, do you know lifecycle? Now you're born, you become a toddler, you become a teenager, and then you become an adult, you start to become... the idea is the same thing for projects. You start project, you plan it, you execute, and then you close. You compare and contrast flowchart. Anyone have seen a flowchart before? Anyone have never seen a flowchart? Okay. A Gantt chart? Anyone have heard of a Gantt chart?
No.
Never heard of it? Anyone have heard of a Gantt chart? Come on, where are the managers? See, if you get a job as a manager, and you want to be like a great manager, you come next day with a Gantt chart. Remember the plumber that comes to your home? If they come with no tools, are they good plumbers? No. A good plumber has good tools. Good managers, they have good tools. And the tool of a manager is a Gantt chart. So we'll talk about Gantt chart. And we'll talk also about the PERT network. And we'll explain how break-even. Anyone have heard of a break-even analysis? Anyone have heard of a feasibility دراسة جدوى?
Yes.
Yeah, we'll talk more about how this really works. So this chapter talks about planning. And planning definition is coping with uncertainty by formulating courses of action to achieve a specific result. So that's what a plan. There is uncertainty and you don't know. And then how do you fix that problem of unknowing? You make a course of action in order to be able to achieve your desired results. For example, next year we want to get more customers. We want to get 1 million customers. Now, are we going to get 1 million customers or not? We don't know. But if we make a plan, then we're more close to achieving that goal. Okay? And here we've got 3 types of uncertainty. There are 3 things that we don't know that we want to make a plan for. Number 1, state uncertainty. It occurs when the environment or a form of the environment is considered to be unstable. Okay? So if the environment is by itself is unstable, we call that state uncertainty. Effect uncertainty, it occurs when the impact of the environment change is unpredictable. Okay? So because of what can happen in the environment, the consequences is unpredictable also. And then the response. How will you respond when the consequences of your decision is also unpredictable? Do you guys understand those 3? Now, take an example. Will you go to Al-Hasaba? There is a state. Maybe there's a bomb. Now, if there's a bomb, you don't know if that's going to affect what. And then, if you happen to be there and the bomb is there and it affects, how will you respond? Is also you don't know. Do you see? So the idea of I want next year to get 1 million customers. Now, if I get 1 million customers, I don't know how is the environment going to happen. So maybe I go to the customers and they come. Now, if they come, then I will have to have a busy branch. And then if I have a busy branch, maybe my customers will respond negatively to the customers. So maybe I don't want 1 million customers. I want 100,000. Or maybe I will expand the number of branches. Or maybe I will have more employees to take care of that number of customers. Do you see? So the idea is that you want to plan for the 3 stages. Do you see? Got it? Here, if you have a plan, is what, when, and how things should be accomplished in the view of the organization capabilities and environment uncertainties. And you set the stage all over the management functions by establishing purpose and direction. So planning is really, we call it the primary function. The question on the exam will say, which of the following is the primary function? Planning. Why? Because you have to plan organization. You have to plan your staff. Next year, we need to have this number of people. You need to communicate. This is what we will, this is how we need to talk to my employees, and you need to make a plan for your motivation. You need to tell people, next year we will pay you this much. We'll give you this much bonus. This is what we will do. This is what we will not do. And then control is, we're going to check. We check every day. We check at the end of the month. At the end of the year, we make an annual report. We have to hire some auditor. We have to have this number of people to check our accounts, to check our customers. We want to check that our orders are delivered. We want to check that our operations are smooth. So you need to make a plan for that. Are you guys okay? The importance of planning. So if you're a manager, you need to plan because that's a primary function, and you need to plan all of these. And next, coping with uncertainties. Organizational response to uncertainties. Now, do you guys remember the mobile business? Every company make plans, right, for the mobile business. Do you guys remember Nokia? How many people remember Nokia? Some people forgot Nokia. Now, how did Nokia respond to uncertainties in the mobile business? Maybe they were more of reactors. They were waiting for the adversary. Until their declining sales, that's when they woke up. Do you see? They started to lose a lot until they decided to come up with their new. Do you see? Some companies like Apple, they were more prospectors. They were the first people to come with a touch phone. Do you see? These people, they seek first mover advantage. They want to be the first people to do it. Do you see? They thought of mobiles. How can we make this mobile? How can we make the next big thing in mobiles? And they were very aggressive in making things happen. And they did not wait for anything to happen. They went first to move. So that's how they dealt with uncertainties. Do you guys remember those analyzers companies? Samsung? They follow the market leader. They imitate. Anything that works, they do it. Anything that is expensive R&D mistakes, they avoid it. These are more like Samsung. Do you see? Maybe that new Chinese. Did you see the new Chinese? Very good. They're more like copy-paste. They see what's good, they follow it. They don't come up with something new. They don't do research and development. But they see anything works, they copy it.
That's what is happening with Huawei.
Yeah, maybe Huawei is another example.
11% of the market.
Now, we also have this fourth type, which is defenders. These people, they rely primarily technology on a narrow product line to maintain competitive. Those companies, they are very focused and they don't want anything to deviate them. One of the good examples they say in Defender is the Dell company. Dell, they tried very hard to maintain their laptops. They tried to come with the iPads. Do you remember the tabs or they call them the pads, the pods? They were first to, and they just failed, and they just didn't try again. Said, let's focus on our laptop and stay good. Do you see Sony? They made their laptops, and they were very focused, and and then they said, okay, we don't want laptops anymore. Let's focus on our core. They want to defend their position in their product line. They want to focus, keep it efficient, keep their sales good, and let's not see what other people do. Let's not come up with something absolutely new. Let's just defend our situation. So we stay in business. At least we don't lose. Are you guys okay with these 4 responses?
Yes.
Okay. I see this in students. Some students, they're like prospectors. They prepare, they come to the class early, they do their research and development at home, and they read some of the new latest, and they come to the class. They want to get the A, and they're prospectors. I also see those B students. They don't do research and development. They don't study, but they join in class. They see what other people are doing. They follow what's the best practice. They see their friends studying 1 hour. They study 1 hour. And then they do the best that other people are doing, and they just get that B, and they're great analyzers. I see those people on the C level. They just want to struggle to keep the C. They don't want to follow it with a D. They don't care about what the A and B are doing. Let me just get my C, and I just move on. And then we have the D students. They never wake up until I, shake them up. And, they need to have, they wait for the adversary until they have a declining grades. And that occurs before they take any corrective action. Like Nokia. I don't know. This is not a classic. I need to have some evidence, This is like examples of each one of these, and this is like explanation. You can read it in the book. Next, we've got balancing planned action responses. We have some control and command model, or command and control. Top-down tight control of operations through exact planning, which creates organizational inflexibilities to deal with unanticipated events and limited success. So the idea of planning and control, they always go together, because you plan tomorrow I will do this, and then you check, did you do it or not? How many people they keep their to-do list? Okay, do you always check, did you do it or not? Are you flexible or you're not flexible with yourself? You see, maybe with yourself, but if you think about a big company organization, if you become too top-down, tight control, exact planning, it can create sometimes inflexibility, do you see, to deal with the unexpected. And that's why we started to see more contingency model. Contingency model, it's a planned action that is more balanced. Strategic agility to take advantage of unexpected opportunities to cope with the need for change. So you always need to change, but at the same time you want to keep your plans. And so how to keep that and be ready for the unexpected becomes a challenge. Next, we're talking about essentials of planning. What's a plan? A plan is a specific, documented. You guys know the word documented? If it's not written, it's not a plan, right? Intentions consisting of an objective, which is an end, and an action, which is a mean. And it states what, when, and how something will be done. You guys understand the plan? How many people have never done plan before? Anyone have done a plan before? What did you plan for?
I've done a plan for media project for Pepsi here.
Okay.
The company distribution.
Tell us, what did you do?
I started from the collecting data first. I got the census from the company.
So you collected data and then you made the plan.
Yeah.
All right. Establish essentials of sound planning. How do you know you have a good plan? You need to have a mission. Okay. An organization mission. This is our mission, okay, as a company. You need to look at the types of planning that we will discuss in the following slides. You need to set objectives. These are my objectives, okay? I want to get this, this, and that. What were your objectives?
My objective? Well, there are many objectives.
And then priorities. What's more important? And then you need to do a planning control cycle, which is this is where I want to be. Did I do it or not? You check. Now here next we're talking about a mission. What's a mission? A company mission is a clear, formally written, publicized statement that will guide the organization by defining the key stakeholders, creating an inspiring vision, outlining how the vision will be accomplished, establishing key priorities, stating a goal, a common goal, fostering togetherness, creating a philosophy, anchor for the organization, generating enthusiasm and a can-do attitude, and empowering organization members. Which one of these do you think is the most important? Which one of these is the most important in your opinion? Common goal, okay? You have to have a mission that has a common goal so we all know where we want to go, okay? Which one do you think is the least important in your opinion? Empowering members, okay? See, a philosophy anchor. Let's see. Do you remember the mission statement for Google? Google, they want to organize all the world information. This is their philosophy. You know, it's a philosophy, it's a mission, it's a philosophy, it's a goal, it's an objective. This is what they say. Every information in the world, we want to organize it. The information on people maps, we want to put Google Maps. Emails, we want to organize them. Search, we want to organize websites. So they want this to give people empowering where they go. You see, that's how it empowers organization members. Give them direction, the sense of who they are. Give them a philosophy that everyone can go back to. Do you guys agree to this? Okay. Next, we are talking about types of planning. We've got strategic planning, intermediate planning, and operational planning. A strategic planning, how you pursue long-term. And then intermediate, it's more of how you allocate resources, maybe for subunits. And then operational is the day-to-day. How you accomplish specific tasks with available resources. Are you guys okay with this? Now next, we're talking here about top management, middle management, lower management. Top management, that's 1 to 10 years. Immediate, 6 months to 2 years. Operational, 1 week to 1 year. And here are examples. This is the CEO job, president. Middle, it's more like function manager or product line or department head. And then lower, it's a unit manager or a first line supervisor. Are you guys okay with this? Next, we're talking about planning horizon. When you make a plan, you want to see how long, length correspond for this plan. It says here, if you are strategic, maybe it's a long plan. If it's intermediate, maybe middle. If it's operational, it's a short. You see? So maybe what's your plan for tomorrow? It's maybe more operational. You know, tomorrow I will get the book. You say I will study for chapter 6. What's your plan for the next week? We will take this management course. What's your plan for the next, 3 months? I will finish this pre-MBA. Plan for this 1 year while I get the MBA degree. What's your plan for the next 10 years? I want to be a manager of X. Objectives. An objective is a commitment to achieve a measurable result from a specific period. Writing good objectives. Objectives should be expressed in a quantitative, right? I want to get 1 million customers, $1 million number. You don't say I just want to have best customers. You need to put some numbers there. This way you have a clear plan. Do you see? What specific results to be achieved? You want to say when this will be achieved. Next month I want to get A. How to result will be measured by grade or by dollars, customers. And then how will the responsible for it? Who's going to be responsible for that? Next, we're talking about the importance of objectives. Your objectives, they give you a specific goal to achieve. You can measure, you can gauge how much you achieved. It's also a commitment. If you have a goal that is clear and number, next year I want to do 5. Then this is, you are encouraged. You do 1, you do 2, you're happy. You want to do 3, you finish. There's only 4 more. 5, okay. And then the mean ends chain of objectives. Achievements of lower level objectives create mean for achieving higher level objectives. Top management, this is an example. I want to increase sales to 250 million by the end of the year. How many people in your companies, the top management, have a goal like this or an objective like this? That is measured, defined by time, and specific in nature. Okay? And then here, middle management. This is an example. I want to increase market share of this soapy stud by 5% in July. That's an objective. By July, I want to reach this number. And then here in the lower management, they start to say, I want to increase this unit sales in this area, let's say Boston area, and Hadda area, by 100 units in April 1st. So that's very specific. Now, you make these planning, you become better manager. You don't do them, then, you're not doing as much as you can. Next, we've got this idea of priorities. You want to be able to rank priorities and goals and objectives and achieve them in the order of importance. What's more important? 5% of this or 10% in that. Do you see? And management looks at the priorities when you decide how to allocate resources. What's more a priority to focus on? Do I focus more on the pre-MBA, or I focus more on my job, or I focus more on my kids? ABC priority. A is a must-do. B is a should-do. And a C is a nice-to-do. So you always want to, kind of re-look into your things you need to do. What you must, what you should, and what's nice to have. And the 80-20 principle. Anyone have heard of Pareto analysis?
Yes, sir.
What is Pareto analysis, Amr?
80% using that 20%. This is one.
What is it?
To acquire 80%, using 20%. This is from a perspective.
The 80-20 rule says that 80% of your profit come from 20% of your customers. So if you look at your customers, 20% of them will give you 80% of your revenues. In fact, the 80% of your customers remaining, they give you 20% of the revenues only. So which one is important? You focus on those 20% of your customers or those 80% of the customers? Those 20, because they generate 80% of your profits. In fact, 20% of your customers, they give you 80% of the headache. Do you see? 20% of your problems, 20% of your problems come from 80% of your customers. Do you see? So the idea of 80-20 in everything, 80% of all of what you get because of 20% of what you do. Okay? And there are, 20% of what you can do can generate 80% of all of the troubles or profits. You see? So there are, you need to focus on what's really important. That's the Pareto analysis. The majority of the causes or inputs or efforts tend to produce the majority of the results, outputs or rewards. Avoiding the busyness trap. Sometimes you're very busy, but you're busy with the 80%. You don't want to be there. You want to be busy with the 20%. That's more important. That's the idea of priorities. Planning control cycle. Planning is set in notion, activities, accomplish planning objectives, control functions, direct monitor, deviation from plans, attainments of objectives. You plan, use feedback. You always want to get feedback. Control, improve, alter plans, implement corrective actions where necessary. Do you guys understand this planning control? You want to plan and check. That's the idea. Next, here it says you make plan A, and then you do it, and after you do it, you check. And then you take corrective actions. And then you make another plan, or you correct how you implement it. Next, we're talking about management by objective. This is MBO. The MBO says this. You number one set objectives, you develop an action plan, periodical review, and then you perform appraisal. So my plan next year to get 1 million customer. So this is my objective. I develop action plan. I will make 5 branches, hire 6 people, give them this training, have them doing this. And then I check every 6 months, every 3 months, every month. And then after that, I pay people. If they achieve the objectives, I pay them. Next, we've got the strengths and limitations of MBO. This is, you read it. If you have questions, we discuss it next class. Next, we have project management. Do you guys know what's a project? It's a temporary endeavor. You know, maybe you can take this course as a project. It's, you know, it's a temporary endeavor. You achieve a particular aim. Project life cycle. This is the project life cycle. It says first conceptualize, plan, execute, terminate. So if you look at it on a graph level, you can see conceptualize, you get the idea of a project. Okay. Say for example you're doing this CAC Mobile. This is the concept. You plan it, you start execution, and then here you terminate. Okay. And then here you need to get the big picture in the conceptualization. In the planning, get the details. Who will do what we do, what we don't do. Execution, you start to do the big progress, what people exactly need. You test it, you budget for it, you get the money, and then you end it. You end the project. You make sure everything is set up, everything works, and now we move on to another project. Are you guys okay with this life plan? Project management software. Anyone have heard of a project management software? Anyone have used project management? Microsoft Project? No one? I know, but you have never used it? That's too bad. This is the first class I ever get and no one have done Microsoft Project.
Yes, sir.
Oh, have you done it?
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. Amr, we've got this project management guidelines. Projects that are driven and the big picture, and then project planning is necessary, not luxury. And project managers knows the motivational power of a deadline. Do you guys know what we mean by a motivational power of a deadline? You tell people you have a deadline tomorrow, people work hard to achieve that, right? So that's what we do with project management. And I will skip this slide, we'll talk about them tomorrow, but I want today to give you your homework for tomorrow. Or maybe it's homework not for tomorrow, for the day after tomorrow, which is you do a Gantt chart. This is an example of a Gantt chart. Okay? And Gantt chart, how do you do it? You go, you search on the internet, Microsoft Project, and then you get a Gantt chart. And what the Gantt chart says here is an example. It shows you time, week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4. And then it shows you here the steps. You know, I will design a computer from day 2 to day 3. And then we will do a purchase parts between day 5 to day 11. Step number 3, we will do facilitation or fabrication of a 5-finger glass. We will do that from day 4 until day 15 or 16. Number 4, we will do fabrication for the frames. And then we will build a drive train, and that will be from day 12 to... Did you guys understand this? Yeah, yeah. We just it's called Gantt chart, and the Gantt chart means on the x-axis we have time, on the y-axis we have all of the tasks, and then we have all of the activities, and you do it with Microsoft Project. So not tomorrow, the day after, you need to submit, print out 1 page only, okay, maximum. Don't give me a big Microsoft project for any project you want to do. So how do you do that? You go and you seek help, and Amr can help you all if you have any questions.
On any project you can do?
Any project. You can do what is your plan for the summer.
Just a plan for anything?
Yeah, plan for anything. I just want you to get yourself familiar with Microsoft Project, just to get to see it, okay? You know, in the MBA program, you will do projects with Microsoft Project. So we just want to get you to see it, because it's one of the important tools that today's managers should have. Remember the plumber who come with no tools, like the manager who doesn't know Microsoft Project. Okay.